Are you curious about how U.S. immigration rules are changing in 2025, especially when it comes to pregnancy travel and birthright citizenship? Well, this is a topic making headlines across America, and today I'll break it down for you in simple, clear terms. You see, for decades, expectant mothers from around the world have traveled to the United States with the hope of giving birth on American soil, securing what's called birthright citizenship for their children. But in 2025, everything is about to change. The U.S. government is introducing strict new visa rules aimed at limiting what's often called birth tourism. These policies will affect thousands of families worldwide, and they've sparked major debates about immigration, family rights, and the future of citizenship. Now, I know many of you watching are parents, grandparents, or even great grandparents. You've seen how immigration laws evolve over time and how these changes can impact families, communities, and future generations. Whether you agree or disagree with these new rules, it's important to stay informed, especially as these policies could influence everything from global travel to the rights of newborns. In this video, I'll explain exactly what's changing, who it affects, and what it could mean for the future of families hoping to come to America. So, grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's dive into these important updates together. And hey, before we get started, if you care about staying informed on policies that impact families and the world we live in, be sure to hit that like button. It really helps more people, especially seniors, find trustworthy information like this. Let's jump right in. All right, so let's get straight into it. You might be wondering what exactly is happening with these new visa rules, and why are so many people talking about them? Well, let me tell you, this isn't just another policy update buried in some complicated legal documents. This is big. It's about family, about tradition, about how people plan for the future, and it could reshape how the world looks at American citizenship altogether. For decades now, the United States has followed what's known as birthright citizenship, a principle rooted in the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Simply put, if a child is born on American soil, they automatically become a U.S. citizen, regardless of the parent's nationality or immigration status. For many families worldwide, that has been seen as a golden opportunity, especially for parents hoping to give their children the advantages that come with holding U.S. citizenship. But here's where things get complicated. Over the years, there's been growing concern about what's often called birth tourism, where expectant mothers travel to the United States with the specific intention of giving birth so their child can claim that citizenship. Critics argue that this practice is being abused, turning U.S. citizenship into something transactional rather than something earned or deeply rooted. On the other hand, supporters of birthright citizenship see it as a fundamental right, a beacon of hope for families who want to provide better futures for their children. Now, as of 2025, the U.S. government is cracking down on this. New visa rules have been announced, making it significantly harder for pregnant women to travel to the U.S. on certain types of visas, especially tourist visas. Immigration officers now have the authority to deny visas if they suspect the primary reason for travel is to give birth on American soil. And this isn't just a small policy shift buried in legal jargon. This is a deliberate, calculated effort to reduce the number of babies born in the U.S. to non-citizen parents, babies who would otherwise automatically receive U.S. citizenship. You can probably imagine how controversial this has become. Some say this is a necessary step to protect the integrity of the immigration system, to ensure that people aren't taking advantage of loopholes. Others argue that it infringes on basic rights and that it unfairly targets women, especially women from certain countries where birth tourism has been more common. Now, let's talk about the practical side of things. Under these new rules, U.S. consular officers, the people who conduct visa interviews and process visa applications, have been given greater discretion. That means they can refuse a visa if they have reason to believe that the applicant intends to travel to the U.S. primarily to give birth. But what exactly counts as reason to believe? Well, that's part of the controversy. It leaves a lot up to interpretation, and that worries people. Imagine being an expectant mother, planning to visit family in the US, or traveling for business or personal reasons, only to be turned away because an officer suspects your trip might involve giving birth. For many, that feels like an invasion of privacy or a judgment based on assumptions rather than facts. And let's be honest, anytime rules are vague or subjective, it can lead to discrimination, misunderstanding, and mistakes. But where do we draw the line? That's the heart of the debate. For many seniors watching, you've seen how the world has changed over the years, how immigration policies have evolved, how borders have tightened or loosened depending on the times. You know firsthand how policies can impact real families. Maybe you immigrated yourself, or you have children, grandchildren, or even great-grandchildren who were born in another country and dream of coming to America. This new visa crackdown touches on deep, emotional topics: family, opportunity, fairness. Some families feel they're being unfairly targeted, while others believe the U.S. is simply trying to protect its borders and prevent misuse of its laws. Wherever you stand, one thing is clear: this is a complicated issue with real-life consequences. And let's not forget the legal side. While birthright citizenship is enshrined in the Constitution, there have been ongoing political debates about whether that right should be limited or redefined. Some lawmakers have proposed ending automatic citizenship for children born to non-citizen parents altogether, though that would likely require significant legal battles and changes to the Constitution itself. For now, the focus is on restricting who can enter the U.S. with the potential to give birth here. So, what does this mean for families around the world? Well, for those considering traveling to the U.S. while pregnant, the process is now much riskier. Visa applications may face tougher scrutiny, and travelers may need to provide additional documentation to prove that their trip has legitimate, non-birth-related purposes. Some may be denied visas altogether, even if their intentions are genuine. It also raises questions about equality. Critics worry that women from certain countries will be disproportionately affected, especially those from nations where birth tourism has been more common. There's concern that women could face more invasive questioning, or that they might be judged based on stereotypes rather than individual circumstances. At the same time, immigration authorities argue that the goal isn't to discriminate, but to close loopholes and prevent exploitation of the system. They believe that by reducing birth tourism, they're preserving the value of U.S. citizenship and ensuring that immigration remains fair and orderly. But let me tell you, friends, this debate is far from over. Advocacy groups, legal experts, and politicians on both sides are already weighing in, and lawsuits challenging these new rules are likely to emerge. It's a situation that will continue to unfold in the months and years ahead. For seniors like you watching, staying informed is more important than ever. Immigration, citizenship, and border policies have a ripple effect. They impact families, communities, and even international relations. Whether you have loved ones abroad, or you simply care about how these issues shape the future, understanding these changes is essential. And I know all this talk about visas, laws, and policy might seem overwhelming, but you're not alone. That's exactly why we're having this conversation today. I'm here to break it down, to keep you updated, and to make sure you always have access to the information that matters. Before we wrap up this section, I want to remind you, if this video has helped you understand the situation a little better, if you appreciate having complex topics explained in a friendly, easy-to-follow way, do me a quick favor: hit that like button. It shows me that you value this type of content, and it helps others, especially folks in our senior community, find reliable, clear updates without all the confusing legal jargon. We've covered a lot already, but there's still more to unpack. Coming up, I'll share some real-world examples of how these new rules are already affecting families, what experts are predicting for the future, and how you can stay prepared if immigration issues touch your life or your family's life in any way. So stick with me, we're just getting started.